Tribes are something most people never really give a second thought, so it's hard to think that there are individuals in this world who live in total isolation, cut off from the outside world. No modern technology, no designer clothes or vehicles, just living off the land as they have done for centuries before. Here we have 5 remarkable tribes who live in some of the most remote communities in the world. Enjoy. The Tarahumara. Those who have read Christopher McDougall's best-selling book, Born to Run, will know all about the Tarahumara tribe. They call themselves Raramuri and are a community of indigenous people living in the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. The Tarahumara are shy, private people who live far apart from each other in small wooden houses and caves. They live a very simple life and are known to be quiet, thoughtful people who are able to farm. However, more interestingly, they are exceptional runners, and Raramuri, when translated, means running people. Their running abilities are almost superhuman and defy our understanding of human endurance. They regularly run up to 200 miles between settlements through mountain terrain, and it's believed their record run is over 400 miles in just over 48 hours. That's 16 times further than a marathon. They never seem to get tired or injured, and their running is done non-stop in either barefoot or sandals made from tires and deer skin. Many have entered long-distance running events, such as the 100 miles in Colorado, and they have dumbfounded fellow competitors by running in their sandals, often beating their rivals running in their high-tech trainers. To run these sorts of distances, you would think they must eat a ridiculous amount of food as they burn thousands of calories, but oddly enough, their diet is mainly corn, beans, potatoes and apples, and they brew their own alcoholic drink made from corn, which allegedly they will drink until they pass out. As well as being able to run long distances, the tribe have barely any illnesses, and things like cancer, diabetes and heart disease are basically non-existent. However, they do have an unusually high infant mortality rate, and apparently the average woman gives birth to around 10 babies, in hopes that 3 or 4 will survive into adulthood. It's thought that the Tarahumara can run these incredible distances because it's their tradition, as well as their only mode of transport, and they start running from a young age and continue up until their deaths. Their astonishing endurance has fascinated experts for years, who believe they are able to do this due to their environment, minimal footwear, and natural running form. One thing is for sure, the Tarahumara have shown us the capabilities of the human body, and they continue to fascinate us with their extraordinary ways. Sura people. The Suri, Mercy, and Mien are 3 tribes that live separately, but who are all collectively known as the Surma people. They live in South Sudan and Ethiopia and share similar cultures and beliefs. Their homes are built in remote mountainous areas, and they are known to have a fiery rivalry with neighbouring tribes. This rivalry has become more deadly in recent years, with all parties having access to automatic weapons. The areas where these tribes live is extremely dangerous for outsiders. They have a violent culture, and stick fighting is a common practice for the men, especially when providing their prowess when seeking a wife. It's not uncommon for them to suffer serious injury or even death in pursuit of a bride. The men shave their entire bodies and often wear little or no clothes. The women have an unusual beauty regime that starts from a young age. This involves having their bottom teeth removed and their lips pierced and stretched, in preparation for a clay lip plate to be inserted into their bottom lip. Some of these plates are a staggering 16 inches round, with the belief the bigger the plate, the more cattle the woman is worth, and the more attractive they are to potential suitors. Although in recent years it's thought this practice is not so common as it once was. They also use white clay paint to dot over their faces and paint their bodies. In a bizarre ritual of self-harm, the Suri people pride themselves on how many scars they have on their bodies. These self-inflicted wounds are performed by slicing their skin with a razor blade and a thorn. The open wound is then left to heal and scar. These rituals are extremely painful and thought to be a form of controlled violence, to help the children get accustomed to seeing blood and feeling pain, so that they can cope with their violent surroundings. Families live in communes that range from 40 to 1,000 people. They share food and livestock, and some of the elder men wear a fur crown, indicating that they are the most respected member of the tribe. The households, however, are always run by women, and they are allowed to earn their own money from the land they farm and own. Although all the decisions in the villages are made by men, and women have no say in these. The Ruk people. We have all heard of the Vietnam War, but many of us have not heard of the Ruk people. In fact, no one in the world had until the end of 1959, when North Vietnamese soldiers spotted a group of very timid, naked people in the woods. They could be seen climbing cliffs and trees with incredible agility, and after gaining the trust of the soldiers, some of them were persuaded out of their caves and huts and settled in Ruk Lane Valley. However, many of the Ruk people preferred to live their primitive lifestyle and opted to stay where they were, and today the Ruk people are considered one of the least known tribes in the world, and are still living in tents and caves beside the mountainside. They do not have schools, clinics or markets, or even family names. It's thought that they sleep sitting up, and have retained very strange witchcraft rituals which are foreign to other tribes. These include a fertility spell and a contraceptive spell, both of which are a complete mystery to outsiders. It's also thought that they have a secret sound that they will make that ward off wild animals. Unfortunately, it's feared that the Ruk people, who have lived very simple lives for many decades, are at risk of severe population decline as the elders die, taking their secret rituals with them. The younger members of the community are getting more and more drawn into the modern way of life, and it's thought that in under 100 years, the Ruk tribe will no longer exist. The Lone Tribesman. In 1996, the existence of an incredible lone tribesman came to light when loggers reported seeing a wild man lurking deep in the Amazon rainforest. The sighting led to investigations being carried out by Brazil's government agency responsible for looking after remote Amazon tribes. Officials at first were unable to trace him. However, there was evidence of a small thatched hut, with a garden growing modest crops surrounded by a number of spiked pitfalls, which are usually used for catching wild animals. They kept searching and found markings carved in trees that seemed to have some unknown spiritual meaning. After entering the hut, they found hand-carved arrowheads and torches, and it became apparent to investigators that the man was living alone, and it was concluded that he was the last surviving member of an unknown tribe. As more searches were carried out throughout the forest, more of the dwellings were found, characterized by a hand-dug rectangular hole, in the middle of them about 5 feet deep. It didn't appear to serve any purpose, and had never been documented in any other tribes in the area. The lone man became known as the Man in the Hole. It was thought that he moved between his shelters, possibly on the run from the outside world. Eventually he was located, but he made it very obvious that he did not want contact with anyone, and on one occasion he fired an arrow that hit an investigator in the chest. The investigator survived the attack, but it was decided to back off and give the tribesman space to live his life as he wished. The decision was also made to make a 31 square mile area surrounding where the man was living off limits to any kind of development or intrusion from the outside world. And although he was avoided contact for decades, he is monitored by Brazilian's protection agency, and they occasionally leave him tools and seeds. He is well aware of them and has learned to trust them as long as they keep their distance. In 2018, FUNAI released a video of him to raise global awareness of the threats to the uncontacted people in Brazil. In the video, the man, now believed to be in his 50s, appears to be strong and healthy. Take a look at this extraordinary footage. It seems incredible that at this moment in time, this lone tribesman is still roaming the forest, hunting and living in complete isolation, with no one to talk to apart from the animals and his own mind. It's likely that this is how he will live for the rest of his life, and will take to his grave the knowledge of what happened to his people, and the secrets of his culture and language. Korowai people. The Korowai tribe are different from many known tribes. They live in a remote rainforest in southeastern West Papua in the Indonesian province of Papua, and it's thought that up until 1970 they were totally unaware of the existence of other people apart from rival tribes. They live in unique tree houses that tower above the forest, resting on spindly wooden stilts over 1,000 foot above the ground. With no cranes or use of modern machinery, these incredible structures are built entirely by hand using primitive handmade tools. The towering ladder is constructed to reach their homes, and the houses have walls and floors made of tree bark and roofs made of leaves. The original reason and design purpose of these dwellings was to protect them from rival tribes and cannibalism. The tribe have maintained their age-old traditions and the strong belief that their dead ancestors can return to living at any moment. Many of them have had very little contact with the outside world, and most of the Korowai tribe still live with little or knowledge of other humans. It's widely been reported that the tribe still practice cannibalism, although in recent years it's thought this practice has diminished. In 2016, Australian reporter Paul Raphael from Smithsonian Magazine went on an expedition to meet the tribe, and he claims when he first encountered them he had to eat human meat to gain their acceptance. He was also presented with the skull of a tribesman who had recently been killed and whose brains the tribe had dined on. The tribe also believe that if someone dies of disease or unknown reasons, it is likely the witch man Kakua is responsible, and he has possessed their body and eaten their insides. The Kakua will be a member of the tribe, and if they find out who it is, they will kill them and eat them. Supposedly, they will only eat men, and although it's hard for us to understand, in their culture it's perfectly normal. The Korowai still live in a remote rainforest, and are one of the world's most mysterious and isolated tribes. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.